Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you live. This afternoon, you are asked by the Master to place your attention upon, first and foremost, your mighty I Am presence, but then enter into a realm of prayer, supplication, so that you are able to, whether or not you physically are bending the knee, you are putting yourself in that position that is submissive to the mighty I Am presence, the will of the presence, the desire of the presence, the action of the presence as love streaming forth. And in so doing, you will receive the blessing, the instruction, and the opportunity for the miracles to abound in your life as we receive beloved Hilarion. In the fullness of your love for God, I, Hilarion, come to address you, to impart a reminder of all of those things which you have once before held so dear to your heart. For yes, there has always been a time for each life stream when one has received that directive of the mind of God, streaming forth and announcing to one to awaken to the reality of who they are, no longer giving sway to the outer conditions of life, but taking God command in the fullness of the purity that streams forth from the mighty I Am. Yes, you have been there before. Perhaps it was only a fleeting moment. Perhaps it was an entire lifetime. And so charged with the light, you were given the instruction by your own God presence to enter the fray once more, to stand for the fullness of the light of God, to proclaim the truth throughout the land, and to give of your energies into the fullness of the unification of the sons and daughters of God that would stand together in the same vibration that streams forth as the core of purity, of truth, of the divine will of God. Many have answered that call, and they have stood as long as the preparedness of their outer vehicles would allow. But because there was an ignorance of the disciplines, those vehicles would oft times wane at the most important hour when the life stream was needed to anchor the light and to be that will of God in action in the earth. So we, as the ascended masters, have learned how to temper the fire for those who are perhaps not aware, as yet, have not truly determined within their life stream whether or not they believe, who have ignored the signs along the way that have held within them that keynote that would remind them of their true destiny. And yet, come though we may, tempering the fire, the charge of light, the message, if you will, there are still those that fall by the wayside. So we must ask ourselves, within the cosmic councils, what is the right course to take for the earth? Should we forever merely baby, coddle, and wrap in a swaddling garment, a protective envelope, and keep you in that naivete of your natal birth? Or is there the time when the sons and daughters of God will have a consciousness ready to receive the charge of light, the true illumination of cosmic law, that truth that stands for all time, that regardless of where you go, whatever you put your attention upon, whatever is the creative action that you engage, it will always be the same cosmic law at work. What is it that the sons and daughters of God need? We have come to our conclusions, but it always remains within the conscious awareness of the individual life stream. What is it that you need? What is it that will spur you into action? Will ignite the fires of your heart to leap in joy, to engage with your own God presence? What is it that will allow you to fulfill your fiery destiny and to ignore all along the way the pitfalls of human creation that would otherwise tear you down and draw you into the deep abyss of nothingness? I know what we have determined, and I know what the recipe is, but that will be of no avail if you are not able to hear it, to perceive it, to engender in your own life a way of life that holds to that standard, that leads you into the full awareness of your destiny and prepares you for the fulfillment and the victory, so that it will, on that final day of your accomplishment, be the testimony and the example of all that you have stood for. Every day of your life has been a day of preparing for that one victory that is the culmination of the many victories leading to it. Perhaps you have already guessed. Those who are wise, those who have held to their disciplines and have held in the fullness of their outer consciousness the design and the pattern with which one would fashion their life, holds the greatest opportunity of achieving their victory. When you stand in the fullness of God, holding your attention upon the one, you have won every battle. You have achieved every victory. You have garnered the wisdom, the attainment, and the mastery. But it is not for one singular occasion that you have held your attention upon the one, that mighty I Am presence, that is the allness of God and the individualization of who you are. But it is every moment of every day. For as the cycles unfold in your life, so is there a new requirement that your God presence can lead you through, threading your life through all of the maya and delusion that may be abounding, and nonetheless holding you firm in the palm of the hand of the presence of God. Every day, every moment is a new challenge, a new opportunity for you to prove the law, cosmic law, for you to establish within your own life the miracles that unfold naturally as the emerald ray streams through you in those creative endeavors of thought, word, and action that allow for the expression of your Christhood to be where you are, to feed into life, to nourish that life, and to weave out of that life the fullness of the garment of your Christhood, that you, at the close of your lifetime in the physical octave, can lay upon the altar of the Most High to be judged. And in that day of judgment, you will know if you have been in the right place at the right time, if you have applied the right pressure of light, if you have said the right words, if you have allowed for the right thoughts within your mind, if you have held first and foremost the mighty I Am presence as Lord of your house, the house of the planes of consciousness in which you abide. The heart flame knows no other residence. It knows only these vehicles of consciousness that have been drawn together by your own God presence, so that you might have vehicles of expression to prove the law, to exact the creative powers of God, to open the doorway into the realms of perfection that to some in the physical octave seem to be so far removed that they cannot even fathom that perfection is possible. But understand, blessed ones, It is possible, for it is present right within your own higher vehicles of consciousness. Your own Holy Christ presence abides within the realms of perfection, and even so awaits those times when you are in harmony, holding to the pure thoughts, the pure intent of life, the right vibration, so that that Holy Christ presence may unfurl the banners of your own vehicles of consciousness as the will of God, as illumination of God, as the love of God, as the white light of purity and the mother light, establishing within you the proving ground of your victory. You are intended to be God victorious. Think not upon your human creation that surely exists, even as you are in physical octaves, but think upon the fullness of your mighty I Am presence, that electronic body that establishes the flow and the patterns of God identity that you will receive daily and be able to absorb into the fabric of your life if you will but put the presence of God first. Oh, there are those, the sons and daughters of God, that have become so accustomed to the human creation that they do not believe that you can live a full life, enjoy all of the fruits of the labor of these physical octaves that have been hard won by the cosmic councils over the millennium to prepare for you. They think only that somehow life in the realms of God are too sterile to absorb the beauty and the vibrations of the exaltations. But indeed that is so. The presence of God is that all in all of life that you have ever enjoyed, have ever desired, have ever wished for. For it is that thin layer of memory from those times past when you have known the fullness of God, when you have stood in the presence of God, that somehow every son and daughter of God has not lost track of, and therefore is striving to return once more. Misguided though the outer vehicles may be, testing the waters of the human creation, delving into all manner of pursuits, does not prepare them. It is when and only when the outer vehicles determine that they are nothing save the presence of God moving through them. They want for nothing save the desire of God. They are not able to cognize thought, save it be the mind of God, preparing the way for the next step, the next thought, the next word. Then and only then can the disciple, desiring the Lord of the house to be home, realizes they have arrived. You are the son and the daughter of God. With that is a mantle of divine right. The right to call upon the Lord, the right to have the fullness of all that is present within the mighty I am, to move through you, to establish a way of life for you, to breathe upon your life the breath that is the fire breath of God, that eliminates all unreality and allows for the truth of who you are to be present. But that occurs only when these outer vehicles are resigned, disciplined, and submissive to the will of God, where the light and the body consciousness of the mighty I Am presence that feeds into these outer vehicles that the sons and daughters of God wear, receiving that nourishment of God, allow their vehicles to be filled to overflowing, no longer squandering the light, no longer misusing that precious body consciousness, but allowing it to build outer vehicles that are fashioned and, yes, vibrate as their own God presence, elevating that vibration of where each one resides, allowing that vibration to ripple out into the earth, affecting the whole of the consciousness of the sons and daughters of God. For each one in their right has the opportunity to receive the blessing of the momentum that the other has accomplished. This is why you can never say for one moment that the path to the ascension is a selfish endeavor, for it is the most benevolent endeavor for the entirety of the earth. For all feed upon the glorious victory of each one. So you, the son, the daughter of the Most High, have a responsibility to your brothers and sisters of light that responsibility that you can only fulfill if you walk in the presence of God. I trust that you will adhere to this instruction. You will rehearse it until your mind, your emotions, your physical body begin to resonate with the truth of this cosmic law which I have imparted to you. Then you will know what it means to stand shoulder to shoulder with those, regardless of where they have come from, what their education may be, what the cultures of their land may be. You will recognize them by the vibration of their heart, and thus you will know the allness of God is at work, and you will have fulfilled a part of the divine outpouring that the presence of God has desired for the earth. Rejoice in the new day when you are the fullness of the presence of God where you are. That new day has begun. I thank you.